Hi, I'm Eric D'Amato,
And I'm Classic Gamer.
and this is yet untitled podcast, which we decided to do together because something occurred to me is we've done a lot of the same games.
Yes, we have.
Most recently, actually, and this is what gave me the idea for this is I had my Third Age Let's Play coming out,
Oh God.
and then you decided to also Let's Play the Third Age.
Yeah.
and and we had kind of similar, also very different reactions to this game and different approaches to playing the game. So I decided to get both
Yep.
of our thoughts, both of our differing opinions and experiences on the game, and this should be coming out like the day after, 2 days after the final episode of your Let's Play, because mine finished a bit beforehand.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
got a little bit of way to go for me yet.
well, it's a
But
massive
I,
game.
I think we can both agree that we are broken men after this game. As you stated I didn't state that on mine. I forgot, but I remember you saying it on yours.
Yeah.
It's just the way you were like, "Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm a broken man." It's just like
it's
the
so long. The game is so
like,
long.
when will this end? So to start off,
Shall we
as
give
the
the
game starts,
basic premise of the game?
yes. So the game is, I would say, a side-along story to the main cast of characters, with a bunch of characters that you think that you're going to like, but actually at the end turns out that they're actually a bunch of nobodies. It's like
And the
watching
thing is, notably,
walking.
they're all ripoffs.
Yeah.
Because Barathor is just Boromir.
Yeah. Or Faramir.
More Boromir because he's not a ranger. Because Faramir is
Yeah.
he's one of the Athelian Rangers as well.
Yes. No. Yes. Definitely.
Idriel is clearly Arwen.
Yeah.
Had hot as
Yeah.
Gimli.
Yeah.
Elegost is more Aragorn, I think, without the being the king bit, obviously. He's more.
Oh yeah. He's
Elegost.
he's the other Duradin.
Yeah, he's the Dunedain
yeah.
guy. He's more like.
Yeah.
It's funny because in the books, the Duradin are something else entirely.
And then
Aoden is he's kind of Aomer,
yeah.
but he's
Yeah,
also he's just a dude with a spear.
And he's also, I think he's probably, I'd say, maybe thinking about it properly and actually giving it some thought, he's probably the most original character you probably got.
I'd say the most original character is Morwen. Because Morwen's she's not anybody. She's just herself.
Yeah, but she's also like,
Eowyn?
yeah, Erwin, but probably not as badass.
Badass is movie Eowyn, because game Eowyn is entirely another story.
And then, last but not least,
no, that's all of them.
Is that all of them? Okay,
because
briefly
there was Andriel and Dariel, that elf you meet in the Gap of Rohan, who I thought was going to join the party.
I can't remember that one.
You hunt wargs with him? Yeah, you go hunting orcs. He has the grey tunic. He's an elf archer.
Oh yes.
Yeah, him.
Well, no, he's a glorified Legolas. Yeah.
He's more Legolas than the game's Legolas, but again, we'll get into that.
Yes, but so you go through. The game starts off with you being attacked by the Nazgul.
Don't worry, you're not expected to win this fight.
No. Don't go into when you see. Basically, this is going to be a podcast about the game, so expect spoilers. So I'm not going to hold back. So when you first go into this fight, you're on your own. You've got 200 HP. You're against one Nazgul,
Three Nazgul,
and two Nazgul, and you attack them. If you attack them and you get the first attack in, fair enough. but your attacks are not effective in any shape or
Well,
any way, shape,
no,
or form.
all blades perish that pierce these Shadow Kings. To quote the book.
Yeah, I haven't. I need to listen to the book. But then you get basically knocked down in one hit. I was like, what? Is it over already? What's going to happen here? And then Adriel just appears out of nowhere and goes, "Let him be spared.
What grace is given
Let
me,
him
let it
live.
pass.
What grace is given me." And then she uses probably one of her best first magic spells, Water Fury, which basically annihilates the Nazgul, and they basically bugger off and think, yeah, fuck this, we're not going to mess with this elf.
We don't have time. We have work. There's a hobbit. He has a ring. We got to deal with that first.
Yeah, yeah. We have to serve our Witch King and our Master Sauron first, and then she joins your party. So you go through the first wooded area, fairly straightforward area. It's not too difficult.
Kill orcs. You pick up equipment.
You pick up equipment.
And
there's no shops, there's no towns or anything. I thought they would be.
And that's actually one of the things I quite liked about this one, even though I'm not really big onto, I don't like turn-based combat at all. But I did kind of like, in this game, all the armor you pick up, when you equip it, it does show up. Even, for...
Yes, that's what I liked.
On Barath... Not Barathor's ring, but, Hadhod's belt buckle, Elagost's brooch, Morwen. They all show, even something so small just shows up on their character. It's
all the little things all those little details that they put into the game there, I actually thought was a really nice touch, because there are a lot of games, and games on the PS2 didn't really do this. The other thing I'd say about the battle system, while we're on the subject, well, not really on the subject, but equipment and stuff, is this game steals its idea from Final Fantasy X, where you can swap out characters.
Yeah, it's a Final Fantasy X.
It's literally a glorified Final Fantasy X clone, but in Lord of the Rings style.
Because Final Fantasy X was the last Final Fantasy to come out before this game, so it was the most recent one, so they ripped that one off.
Yeah. The other thing that I liked about it was you have Ian McKellen reprising his role as Gandalf. Mm-hmm. Doing actually in this game some very good and very surprisingly original lines that were not in the film or anything like that. He actually narrates the story. You have 109
and we
things to unlock.
All of them.
I unlocked all of them. I had to go back and do some of them. Oh,
I swear, between this game, the Two Towers game that does the same thing, and the Return of the King game, I think you can, with just the cutscenes from that, edit together the entire freaking movie.
Yeah. No, I don't... Excuse me, I don't disagree with that one.
All of them being narrated by Ian McKellen.
Well, I liked how they... Well, the Two Towers game, which is by EA, is narrated by Aragorn's character in the Two Towers. But this game I think that originalness was actually probably something that maybe... Because I saw this game a lot, and I had it in my launch box for a long time, and I saw the front cover being Gandalf and I think it was Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli, and the back of them was the Balrog. And I was like, oh, you get to play as all those characters.
Actually, let me take a close look at the Third Age, at the cover, and see if I can work out who's there.
I can get it up as well.
No, that is Barathor. Barathor, Idriel... Okay, that is Gimli. And Gandalf standing in front of the Balrog.
Yes, and that's it. No, that's Idriel.
Yeah. Idriel, Barathor, and
Oh, look at that on my cover on here on my cover that's gone large. The most exciting RPG since Final Fantasy. Really?
Yes, I have seen that. I've made jokes about. My friends and I have made jokes about that.
Yeah, and it's also by EA, which I didn't actually realise.
Well, EA had the license.
Yes, well, I mean, they haven't done... I don't think all their games are bad.
Well, not all their games are bad, but they did have the start... I mean, frankly, they did a better job with Lord of the Rings than Warner Brothers. Cough, cough, Shadow of War, loot box scandal.
I've not played the Shadow of War ones, but no. So as you go through the first area, you go for it gracefully. You have other quests that you can complete, which I didn't really clock until much later on.
Mm.
And then when you get through this first bit, you meet Legolas, the archer. Not Hadod just at that point, I don't think.
Well, the order you get the people is you start with Barithor, then immediately Idriel. Once you get to the mountains, you get Elegost. Further on, basically just before Moria, you do get.
He's finding the dwarf, isn't he?
Yeah, he's finding
the
dwarf. Then that's the party you have all through Moria, which is so goddamn long.
Yeah, so they go into Moria and basically Gandalf saying you need to follow the Fellowship, they need your help. But yes, it goes on far too long. I liked how detailed they made it. I like the fact that you got to see more of Moria than you did in the actual main story of the main films and the other games. Well, you only see Balin's tomb in Two Towers, but I liked what they did with this Moria, even though it was very long. And then you fight.
Well, one thing it did that I actually quite liked, like story-wise with their Moria, is like going into the fact that the goblins of Moria, they worship the Balrog. Like their armor is based on the Balrog. They have the freaking Balrog's idol they worship.
I didn't notice that, to be honest.
It's cool.
But
like
but then eventually you reach the Bridge of Khazad-Dum.
Of course.
And you somehow
not before fighting the Watcher in the water like 3 times.
Yes, but when you reach after you fight the Watcher in the water, after it survives being shot in the face by a Legolas arrow and destroying the front entrance, which somehow you got into even though it was destroyed.
I think we took because in the again to reference the books, he does mention we took the eastern because he didn't get through the melon door, as it were. He went through another gate, which he didn't know the password immediately. He went through there are 2 gates. They came in. I don't know. Maybe they came in through another door. The plot's kind of one of the weak spots of this game. It gets really ridiculous as it goes on.
I think it's not the strongest, but it's not terribly weak. But eventually you reach the Bridge of Khazad-Dum, and you somehow have caught up to the Fellowship in spectacular fashion after being miles behind them for probably quite a while. And then you see Gandalf fighting the Balrog, and then you team up with Gandalf,
and you will never be more useless in a fight than in this one.
Gandalf actually uses more magic in this game that I find spells that I think he does have, but it's not elaborated on in the film, which I was disappointed by. Is the fact that you get to use, and it's the same for his counterpart Gandalf the White, same attacks essentially. At least I think it is from memory. But you basically can destroy the
basic attack. It does the same thing, but it's called something else. Because as Gandalf the Grey, you do the lightning sword like he does in the movie.
Yeah.
In the extended edition. And Gandalf the White, he does the just the beam of light that he shoots at the Nazgul when he goes to save the people on Osgiliath.
I don't think I used that one, but you team up with Gandalf, which is a really nice touch, and then you are out of Moria into.
I think we do need to comment on the Balrog fight, because as cool as it is, like you have the Balrog, he is like 40,000 HP, and he's
very strong,
and he's doing 5,000 damage. Gandalf's doing 3,000 damage, and then Barithor runs up, stabs the Balrog for 300 damage, and it's like, why am I here? I don't feel like I'm helping.
The Balrog fight, I think I did it first time, and if you didn't have Gandalf, you would probably be there a long time and probably would die.
Well, I think because for me, when I fought them, he and especially when there's a cool feature this game has called Evil Mode, where you unlock really cool gear to use in the main game.
Yeah, I like the evil mode. I did like that.
When I played the Evil Mode of Moria, I did the Pillar of Hate thing he has, where he Balrog goes up and he smashes all of you.
I think I did that.
I did that once, and everyone but Gandalf died immediately.
Yeah, actually, that happened to me.
I think I just got as many buffs, got as Barithor and Idril to do as much buffing as possible of us, and of Gandalf, and then just let them die because it's not going to be helpful. Just let Gandalf do this.
Yeah,
because there's no death. You're knocked out.
Yeah, you are knocked out. You have to be revived. But the evil mode. It starts off really kind of fun and a cool little feature, but turns into a bit of a bitch fest later on.
Because it gets to the point where
it's infuriating.
The game kind of gets easier because you level up. You don't level up the bad guys.
No, not at all.
They're static.
Yeah. They are very much static, and essentially you get a fight with like 3 of the same dudes that has one attack, like the bowman. There's the Morgul bow that is just the only thing that does is basically causes silence or paralyzing, which means that Aldriel can't use her
which is
spells.
Good because she can wreck with her magic.
Yeah. If you're against her, she can destroy your life within a few seconds. But once you get out of Moria, you're on the road to Rivendell.
No, we came from Rivendell. We're on our way to Edoras. We're in the Gaparola.
Oh yes. I was going back over old ground in my last video, but so you leave Moria and you're basically within the rocks where Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn basically go through. They run sort of through it, where the Uruk-Hai go through.
I cannot run all the way to Isengard. Keep breathing. That's the key. Ooh.
Come on, Gimli. We are down on them. Oh, we're dwarves and natural sprinters. Very dangerous on short distances. But then you have to go round and like all the red dots, which are your objectives. You go to one, then one appears all the way back behind you. Then you do that one, and one appears on the other side.
Also, fun. And then very important if you're going to be playing it. You will notice like a Palantir or an Eye of Sauron slowly filling in on the screen.
Yes.
This means that a random encounter is going to happen. You're going to fight.
I like how that sort of... And if you actually change directions, it actually can disappear.
Yep.
I found that out. So if you go one way and then you go, actually, no, I'm not going to get into a fight. I'm going to go the other way.
And then we got you did kind of get the problem I didn't face, where I just went into every combat. You skipped certain fights and did not level sufficiently for a certain boss fight.
No, definitely not. I was doing fights when I was just attacking, when actually I had to use my skills, and I was like, how do you level up skills?
Because you
level up.
Because the thing is, the game is
the first
tricky.
The first time you said it was leveling up, and I was like, okay, that's all right. And then it was like, no, you have to use them. I was like, my big problem then.
Because attack, like there's an attack option. Word of advice if you play it, never use that. Never attack. Always use swordcraft, leadership, axecraft, spearcraft, that kind of stuff. Never use the standard attack.
You do get one skill point per attack that you use from leadership or whatever skills they might have. Each of them have their unique kind of skill base. So Barithor has swordcraft, which is basically a lot of strong, heavy attacks, which charging up.
One of my favorite of his, actually, aside from Ecthelion Wrath, that's the big 3-hit he does, is...
yes, I did like that one
Orcbane and Uruk-Bane are... Like, Uruk-Bane is a godsend in Helm's Deep. But when you get targeted strike, this is an attack that ignores armor completely.
Yeah, I did get that right at the end.
It is beautiful. It is great. I did what I referred to as Balrog damage, because I did once do that attack, 100,000 damage. Like, ooh.
You did how much?
It
100,000?
was like a triple crit or something.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you do break the damage barrier in this game. But then, once you get through the rocks and sort of navigate yourself through, while trying to also achieve as many epic scenes as you can, you eventually get through to Rohan. You then meet
Morwen.
Elmer.
You meet Elmer. You meet Morwen in a village that you save.
Yeah, that's after you kind of like you find Elmer, because Gandalf suddenly appears within the rocks and says, "You need to find Elmer. We're looking for him." I was like, okay, so like, aren't you with Aragorn giving you a Legolas
Now
right
this
now?
is before he shows up to them.
So they're in Fangorn Forest, obviously now.
Yeah, they're in Fangorn. I know it's hard to follow the plot of this.
It's hard to kind of like pinpoint the plot of this game towards maybe where the films are. It is very following along to fairly okay way, but once you get through there, you then ow, socks, go away.
We're experiencing feline technical difficulties.
Yes, you know when they jump up and they paw you to like kind of get your attention.
Yes,
she did that on my side, and it's just like I knew she. Yeah,
Ooh.
It wasn't a nasty claw, but she knows that I'm angry because she's just run away.
One thing about the game, with the way I was playing it, how much I leveled up. There was a bit during the game where I did not actually need to use healing items or AP restore items on the characters I was using, because almost every single fight would level me up.
Yeah.
So I'm not. Also, why drink a healing potion when I can just level up and all my health comes back?
The other thing as well, if you go out of a fight and your characters have been KO'd, they come back to life with 1 hit point. If you save your game, it heals your characters.
We had so many items by the end of our respective playthroughs.
Well, I had very little elf medicine.
True.
I had like 2 left at the end.
Yeah,
I was getting rather worried about that situation.
I didn't have quite as many dead characters as you did.
Oh, I finished the game with everyone alive. Like the final attack I'll get to this properly, but the final attack was Barathor, and yeah, he pretty much owned the final boss in pretty much one move.
Yeah, the final boss needs to be experienced to comprehend.
Yes.
But yeah, we're going through. We get to a village, save that village, meet Morwen, go to Edoras. After everyone's left, everyone's buggered off. No one's left in Edoras.
And suddenly Grima Wormtongue is there.
Of all the boss
where did you come from? You sent back from? Didn't you escape to bloody Isengard, like in disgrace of being almost killed by the king, and Aragorn showed you mercy, and all you did was spit on his hand? I mean, suddenly you're back, and
Brad Dourif, fricking Chucky himself. I was not expecting him to be a boss fight.
I didn't know he was Chucky.
Yeah, Brad Dourif? Yeah, he's Chucky.
Well, he's not the voice, is he? Or is he the voice?
He's the voice of Chucky. Well, not the new one's Mark Hamill in the one they did, but yeah.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Alright, neither have I. Child's Play is not really for me. I find it hard to be scared of Chucky because I can like punt him across an apartment.
Yeah. I think also if you also like crush him in the second film, he gets put into like a toy, like they go to the Happy Doll factory, and there's this machine that basically puts the arms and legs on the film. So he gets on one of those like the carts that they sit on, like those trays that they're attached to. He gets stapled to that. He goes up into the machine. The girl swears at him with his middle finger, and then you just see the thing swinging arms. You just hear him go, no, and then he comes out as a balled up mess, and then he has hot wax poured on him.
Chucky's...
And then he gets his head blown up.
I've never been intimidated. Like, this is the thing about the killer doll Chucky. In the first 3 films, he notably fails to kill a child.
Yeah.
He's not threatening. Yeah. He's Freddy Krueger. Jason Voorhees, he is not.
Yes. But
yeah, you fight Wormtongue, and he's surprisingly tough because he's hip, like mind stuff and like debuffs. And
he does have this annoying attack with a stupid little knife that he has. He's like, yeah, and he's surrounded by these 2 orcs or
the Uruk-Hai, same thing.
The Uruk-Hai, yeah. And he's surprisingly tough. I struggled. I think you owned him pretty easily, but then
first I used, because Mormon has the ability to steal from people, so I used steal on him and got a pair of really good axes.
I didn't steal off him. I didn't utilize that.
You got a pair of gold mortising axe. They're really good for a bit.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of going back to the equipment side, so like some of the swords that you get for Verathor, they start off quite bad in the sense that they go for like 10 damage, 12 damage, 17 damage, and then suddenly they go, when you get the good ones later on, they go from like saying like 65 damage to 105 damage.
Are these his weapons or the elf stones?
Yes!
Because I know there's also a feature in this game, you got the elf stones?
I didn't use them, really.
Oh, no, you should have. You would have had a much easier time if you were using the elf stones.
I did attach some, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I kind of wanted to just get the equipment side of it done as quickly as I could.
I think my... Well, we'll get into like least favorite characters after. So you save Veteras, then obviously your next step is Helm's Deep.
Yes.
And you fight side by side with Legolas, except he can't use his bow for some reason.
Yes. Yes. Gimli.
Oh my! We don't talk about the Gimli bit. Oh my lord.
But yeah, so you're on the wall first of all, and there's like the ladders.
And
obviously,
you break the ladders.
Film.
It's easy.
Yes, but you can't attack the ladders until you get rid of the orc standing in front of that ladder.
True.
And when you finally get through that fight, and on the opposite side of that, when you do evil mode, those characters do crazy damage against you. Yep. I think I had 4 people. Legolas immediately used his Logom Realm or whatever it was attack, got rid of like one of my characters, and then got rid of a ladder in 2 hits.
Yeah, it's rough.
Morin actually is also a bitch in that, and then you get down to the breached wall, and oh my god, the battle would never end.
They just keep coming and they don't stop coming.
Yeah, and until you realise that once you get rid of a certain number, no more of that type will come in. But the worst Uruk-Hai for me is that one with a spear that goes...
Obviously, if you're ever playing this and you see an enemy with a spear or with a banner, kill them immediately.
Yes.
Because they have heals, they have buffs, and worst of all, the orc with the spear has an ability called Morgul Mirror, where all your damage is reflected back at you.
You do still do damage.
You do still do damage, but I remember I forgot and attacked as Barathor, and I did basically my entire health bar as damage.
Yeah. Very annoying, very frustrating.
So kill them first. Or stun them, whatever you can.
Yes. Do whatever you can to get rid of them first. And then after
once the trolls show up, you're good, by the way. Troll is just like in Two Towers, in the equivalent scene in Two Towers game.
Oh, don't talk about that.
Once a troll
I did that the other night.
Once the trolls show up, you're good. Kill the trolls and you're done.
Yeah.
Then you fight with Aragorn, and that was good because Aragorn is really good in this game.
Yeah, I think he's probably, out of all the guest characters that are temporary characters in your party, Aragon probably is
He is
probably
the second
the
time you team up with him, he is downright broken.
yeah. I mean, I'd say I want to say he's the best, but there are probably. Is there one? I mean, Legolas is probably a very close second. If I was to
Technically,
put
the
Aragon,
best would be Gandalf the Grey when you team up with him, but that's just
yeah,
because what you're fighting is so incomprehensibly powerful that he has to be, or it wouldn't be fair.
yeah, definitely.
At least it wouldn't be fair for the early game, which is what war is.
I'd agree with that. But then you get into the Hornburg courtyard, and you get into some random fights. You can go and save. Obviously, I would recommend saving whenever you get a chance. Save the fucking game.
Also, open every treasure chest you see, because there's a warhammer made of mithril for Hadhod that you want.
Yeah, you want to get that before the battle starts, though.
You want this.
Yeah, you want to explore Helm's Deep before. Also, if you go into the armory and check the shelves, you can get some items from there, and they do respawn if you go back there later.
And some weapons.
And some armor.
You have another guy with you by this point. You have Aoden, who is
you have the spear guy.
He's a Rohirrim with a spear who doesn't know what a thrust is. I'm always he has this attack called Horse Lord Skewer, where he smacks the enemy with the spear. It's like, no, do you not know how to use a spear?
I also found that when I had him in my party, he never got a turn.
You have to boost. That's actually there is a stat that you need to boost for that is speed, because the stats, some of them make sense, some of them don't. Strength, how much damage you do. Con, how much health you have. Spirit, how much AP you have, and I think how much damage spirit attacks do.
And also if you do
how likely you are to hit, which we both had issues with, because I remember having 103 dex on Barathor and still missing an enemy.
Yes,
and
we'll get to that certain thing.
And then speed is how it's like initiative in D&D.
Yes,
it's like how soon your turns happen and how many you get.
And then strength also increases your health as well.
I thought that was Constitution increased
that. It is, but also if you increase your health, it does increase your strength does increase your health a little bit.
Cool.
Not by a lot, but if you do you do get. I did notice a little bit of an increase. And then once you beat Helm's Deep,
you get some good gear. Go through it again on evil mode and swear at how much weaker your Uruk-Hai are than the game's Uruk-Hai.
Yeah. I mean, considering the fact that there are 10,000 outside that wall and there's only 700 inside the wall, I would expect the enemies to be far more outmatching, but no. When you have a character like Legolas that can take off 25,000 in his first attack, and your character has 15,000, yeah, you're pretty fucked.
Go first and try to go first and stun them all.
Yes. Well, I just raged through that.
Then we go to Osgiliath.
Oh God.
Osgiliath is not fun.
No. And
because
character you.
Oh God.
One enemy type. One enemy. He's the one that has the one that goes
The time of men is over. The
time of the orc
has
come.
Is
the one that
Gothmog.
Yes.
He is. I actually had an action figure of him when I was a kid. He is big, but he's also the orc who almost get. He's the one with the really disgusting growth on his face. That's Gothmog. He is.
And also he's also got this this good arm, and he's got a slightly worse arm that must have been chopped off. Yeah.
That's just because orcs are weird looking.
I don't want to describe what that arm looks like because it would be insulting to people who would find it insulting. So if you watch the film, you probably would see that he does look a bit demented in some cases.
He is not a fun boss fight. What he does is he does decent enough damage himself, but that's not the issue. The issue he has an insane amount of HP. Like, I looked, he has more in HP than the Nazgul, the Witch King, or the final boss.
What?
Yes. Comparatively to where your levels are, he is harder than the final boss. And he is harder than the Witch King.
That is mind-blowing, considering the fact that the Witch King has 200,000 HP, and we'll get to him in a short bit. But
his main ability, aside from having insane amount of health,
Warrior Slash.
Warrior Slash is nothing compared to the Black Gate.
Yeah, well, that's when you fight him the second time.
Okay.
You fight him the first time.
You have to fight this guy 3 times, by the way.
Is it 3 times?
You fight him 3 times. I think you fight him way later on too.
No, I never fought him later on.
I'm getting him mixed up with the movie where I was hoping for the scene.
It's only twice you fight him. I fought him twice.
Fair enough. You played it more recently than I did, but I was hoping for on Pelennor Fields a scene where it starts you fighting him again. But like in the movie, instead of your party, you have Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas with you, and they kill him in one hit. Because remember, have you seen the extended edition of Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I've seen the one
where Gothmog he's gonna kill Eowyn, and then all of the guys run in. Legolas shoots like 3 arrows in his head. Gimli cleaves him with the axe, and Aragorn beheads him. And
then after doing that, they casually just run off.
Yes,
and run forward.
It was a great scene after playing the game.
It was. You fight him once. He's okay the first time. But when you fight him the second time, when he's like on this,
he's an asshole
thing, and he's like, he's taunting you and going, the time of the orc has come, and he says that again, and then you fight him, and do not kill all his cronies first.
No, he'll just bring in more.
He'll just bring in more, and then
you
they'll
have
get like
the worst ad in the game. One of the worst ads in the game, Faramir.
Yes, I would say he was the worst for me at that point until we get to the worst, which we'll get to in a short while. Which is
especially disappointing that one's the worst, actually.
Yes, I was kind of hoping that the fact that she's badass in the movie and really doesn't get a lot of a chance to really excel in the movie, apart from really a very...
Faramir's... He has like a volley attack, which is decent. He has a buff attack for the party, which is decent. And then his other attack his other attack is called, I think it's called Faramir's Quality, where he will take the hit for anyone else, which is not a useful attack when he has less HP than anyone else in your group.
Yeah, and the other thing he also does is he'll do like a counter attack where that's what it is. Right,
it's a counter attack.
He does a counter attack which is just simply a volley of arrows.
Yeah,
which does damage that is decent to everyone else, but Gothmog.
Yeah, it's not useful in the Gothmog fight, and you only use it in the Gothmog fight.
No, and then once you then beat him. It's assuming that you're still sane by this point.
Then
and not
you have to fight a Nazgul on a Fell Beast.
Yes.
And you kill the Fell. You deal with him, and then Idril leaves your party.
She gets taken by the Nazgul.
She gets taken by the Nazgul, and then you keep cutting back to her fighting orcs. I don't understand it. It doesn't really build the storyline. It just means I have to keep reordering my party every time. It's just... It breaks the flow gameplay-wise for me.
Well, it's then... Once that's done and you get into the sewers, but you fight the Nazgul.
You fight the... I had at least, 3 or 4, mini-boss encounters with... Other mini-boss encounters with the Nazgul.
Yeah, I think I fought him. I think before I put the cheats on because
Yeah,
I couldn't
Osgiliath, I
get
think, is where you broke. Osgiliath
yeah
is what broke you.
yeah. I don't know if it's got to that point yet
Because,
on
and this
my
works,
LP yet.
When Gothmog says to the Witch King, what about the wizard? He's like, I will break him. And the Witch King did break you.
Yeah, yeah. he he did. Yeah,
Because
I couldn't. I
after
think, but
all the orcs and the Nazgul on the Felby so many goddamn times, you get to the Witch King, and you're fighting the Witch King as only Barathor and Idrial,
yeah,
which for both of us was an oh shit moment, because I had put basically no points into Idrial, and you had put basically no points into Barathor.
yeah. The opposite way round. But the fight when you do that,
He's on a
it's
Felby's
tough.
for this fight as well.
But then, when you the bit that I think broke me again. I'd just been broken. I'd sellotape myself together, or sticky tape myself together. For those in America,
We just call it Scotch tape.
Yeah, we called it sellotape.
Nice.
And and when I fought him on evil mode, both Barathor and Idriel got in two attacks one after the other, which took off 15,000 of my 70,000 health.
I did Morgul Wind and stopped them from doing anything and then drained the health right back.
I didn't even get a chance to use that. And I was just like... So I started again because when you use cheats on the GameCube version, and you basically buff Barathor so he can't die, the only cheat that works is for the cheats that are on there only work for that one character. But for me, I kind of think I glitched the game a little bit because I had Barathor on my left side of my party, so the far left, if you're looking at it from like an over-the-shoulder view looking from the left, and anyone in that position has unlimited health. So if you get killed, it goes down to 0, and then it will go up to 99,199, and it will go back to your health that you've got. But when you fight evil mode, make sure you turn the cheats off, because if you don't do that, one of the characters in that spot has unlimited health. And Erogas had this problem, and I killed him. He fell down, and the fucker got back up. And I didn't realise until afterwards, and I was attacking him. I was like, am I not taking off any health? 4,000, no health bar going down. What's going on? So yeah, just a fair warning if you do. I wasn't planning on using cheats. I don't normally use cheats. I know we're both guilty of using cheats.
I do not consider it guilt. I do it as much as I can and freely. I fully support it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're there,
if it's a single player game, mind you, don't cheat in multiplayer. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't cheat in multiplayer. But if you've got the chance to use a cheat that could boost your chances of getting past a certain point, I only plan to use it for that one fight. That plan went out the window as soon as I got past Asgiliath. And then once you get right past Asgiliath, you then get
Minas Tirith, finally.
Which is probably one of the more that breaks the tension a little bit. I think breaks the mold a little bit.
It's one of the easier
just enough.
Levels.
I'd say it's one
except
of the
for
late
one
game.
Very tense, like constant enemy pile-in fight at the gates. It's pretty chill.
Yeah. That has the same kind of concept as it did at Helm's Deep. They keep coming in.
But you find a lot of good gear here. There was one cool bit where the party is split. And I think like Eoden, Morwen, and Elagos deal with one group of enemies. Hadhod, Idriel, and Barathor deal with the other group of enemies.
And then the one that deals with the other group that has Barathor in it, then has Gandalf join to fight the Witch King.
Yeah, you fight the Witch King again with Gandalf the White. You
fight him quite a few times in this game.
He's the one you fight 3 times. Is the Witch King.
Yeah.
But
so
I'd like to talk about. This is what helped me level up so much. One random encounter I got in the Gap of Rohan. I got randomly attacked by the Nazgul.
What?
3 Black Riders on foot.
Oh.
And oh my god, I somehow beat them.
I didn't see that in your. I didn't. Admittedly,
It's there.
I was watching it, and then I skipped like probably 10 videos.
Yeah, it's there in the Gaparohan. We fight the Nazgul, and because I did something that, according to the lore of Tolkien, is actually impossible to beat the Nazgul, my characters leveled up like 3-5 times each.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. Got some good gear too.
Yeah, that's not a bad little thing that can happen. So
I swear, like when I first played it, because this was not my first playthrough of the game. When I got the Nazgul random encounter, I was like, nope, and I reset the game because I did not think it was a winnable fight. Because why would you?
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, and once you then fight with Gandalf the White, you then get onto the battlefield outside Perilor Plains.
But first you have you go and you save the Banner of Minas Tirith, the Balor of Elendil, from the
you're in the
fucking Easterlings. Oh my god!
Yeah, you're in the throne room, and then this one guy on the throne that's standing on there. You fight him, and then afterwards you basically hit him. You throw a sword at the fucker, and he just falls off and dies.
Yeah.
So that was rather interesting. And then you get on the outside, and I was quite confused by the fact that I was wandering through, no random fights, got lost a few times, went back on myself, and then you fight one enemy that you was really quite annoyed with, because you fight one of the big elephants.
Oh my god!
And the first attack, you had completely no reaction when you missed the second time, and then the second time, as Hadod, you were like, "How do you miss an elephant?" And it was just
I have talked about this, and I gave a possible solution to this problem of, like, I know it's a it's a point-and-click adventure game. It's turn-based combat. This is how the stats work. I understand that. But it's an elephant. Maybe have it, instead of having me miss the elephant, have it have like a ridiculous amount of armor, a ridiculous amount of health. Like, you always hit, but your damage is always halved or something. That would be fair. That would make sense. I'd be fine with that. But the fact that we missed the elephant so many times.
And then you miss it again with Verathor. And you're like, and instead of just doing, how did you miss an elephant? You're like, and somehow you missed the giant elephant. And it was just like, you had lost the will to live.
So I beat the elephant. We beat the elephant, okay. And then there's 2 elephants! Ooh,
yeah, you then fight 2 of them and they didn't use Stomp on me. He did for you, but the second time I fought the elephant, you fight 1 more elephant and then you fight 2, and the worst attack that thing has is that fucking tusk sweep that doesn't drain much health but does 5,000 AP.
Yeah, that's why I kept. Once I learned about, that stuns us and you just wail on us and then we die attack, that is the stomp. I realized that Elagast has an attack called Crippling Strike that keeps him from doing melee. So I just keep crippling them and melee paralyzing them because I was not going to deal with that again.
Yes. And then you get onto the one fight that I had to abandon because it just broke me for a third time.
Also, all the way through, you're running into orcs, you're running into Easterlings.
Easterlings go on so long.
The thing that pissed me off about the Pelennor Fields was it did feel like a legit battle, because it keeps, instead of having one area like almost every other place in the game, it's several small areas, but in a big open space, and you will never have a clear idea where you're going.
No,
And that
no.
pissed me off.
You see the red dot, but you go towards it, and then you realise
And then
it's actually in the opposite direction.
It's like crossing a room in one of those Resident Evil style games where the camera shifts direction like every few steps.
It's just camera
and
angles.
then the right direction key to move forward keeps switching too. So it's
Well, no, the old Resident Evil games are always tank controls. So
this is more
forward is forward.
This is more one of the bad ones, not Resident Evil, like the Ring Terror's Realm kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I was going to watch your playthrough of that the other day, but I saw it on that Rage playthrough, but I don't know why half of them are in that playlist, because some of those things you're actually quite calm.
I don't know.
And the one that isn't in
Look,
there
I'm not going to criticize it. I have a fan, and the fan is doing stuff with my content. I'm just going to take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I mean it is one, but I think one that I think he hasn't put in there yet, which I'm surprised about, is the river ride that you do in the first Mummy game.
Yes.
We'll
That's
do that in another.
That's a future podcast if this one works.
Yes, yeah, but probably a very short one because I can't remember anything about that game very much. I have to replay it. But so you finally then get to the Witch King, which broke me for the third or fourth time.
This is the final Witch King fight. He is on foot. He has the flail you have to deal with.
Yes, and he is at this point. I read he had 300,000. He then uses Scent of Flesh, which heals him. Overkill heals him, and then basically can use the Wrath of the Ring, another fire attack, and I kept fucking missing.
The thing is,
every single time.
I never dealt with any of that, because as soon as I saw him, I wonder if I can use immobilizing attack on the Witch King. I wonder if I can stun the Witch King.
The second time
I'm sure he's immune. He's not immune. Okay, we got this.
Yeah, I use the stunner thing, and he was like swaying for about 5 turns, which actually helped me get him down to like the yellow part of the bar. And then once you eventually get through the Witch King, providing you're still sitting up in your chair at this point and haven't snapped your controller in half like I almost did during the first time I tried him, you then meet Aragon randomly.
But before we do have to talk about the Witch King fight.
Oh, do we have to?
Eowyn is the ad in this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She is so incomprehensibly weak.
I mean, her best attack does 5 hits. And when I used
like
it,
five,
I was like,
you're thinking,
I was
5 hits. That's cool. It's 5 hits to 300 damage.
HP. I think the max I got from that was 1,004 HP.
Just for context, Barathor on like a regular special attack now, not a crit or anything, was doing around 8,000 damage. So she was not exactly useful.
Yeah, she joins your party.
And I bet maybe she has like some really cool buffs that no buffs for you, no debuffs for the opponent, just shit damage combos.
Yes, just 4 attacks that do like 1 attack, 2 attack, 3 attack, 5 attack. But when I saw her, I was like, oh, it's Eowyn. Probably one of the characters that probably everyone would say, well, actually, she's actually really, really good. But no, for a character that you would expect to be really good, because you see her with the sword in Legolas in the film, and she does that swinging movement, and Aragon blocks it, and she whips it out and says, "Women of this the
women of this land learned long ago that those without swords can still die upon them."
I feel neither death nor pain, and after all that fucking bigging herself up, she is the most useless, underleveled pieces of shit. And this is nothing against female characters in RPGs at all. I mean, but she's just. I mean, even Morrowind makes her look. She makes Morrowind look like the best character in the game. And Morrowind is probably the weakest character in your main party, but Erwin, she makes Maureen look amazing. I said that rather the wrong way around, but she makes Maureen look amazing. And then once you beat the Witch King and you finally get through that bullshit, you then fight the 8 Nazguls as well as some Eastlings and some other trolls.
But the thing is, you have Aragorn with you. Which
do,
means every fight is a joke because he has Army of the Dead, which is just alright. All of the enemies,
it's called dead. It's called dead.
It's dead. Just every enemy, dead.
Yeah, I think I used it the first time, and it killed the troll and the 3 with him in one hit. It's definitely the best one to use if you can. But the first time I got Aragorn, he was stunned, so he couldn't actually attack.
Warning though for Army of the Dead. Aside from the fact, like, it takes like almost no AP, it's amazing, but it does have like a full minute long animation.
Yeah.
So it'll draw things out.
Where he kind of like he breathes out slowly, like kind of breath out. And I was like, why are you doing that? Like, are you breathing to let the king know that it's okay to appear suddenly in front, even though they're all on the battlefield fighting every single orc? And they annihilate everything and everything, apart from the Nazgul, which they only take off half of their health bars.
But still, that's like half of the health of a Nazgul.
It is, but I managed to kill the last Nazgul by Berethor basically getting a normal attack in, and it killed him.
There's also this thing with apparently the Berethor was stabbed with a Morgul knife, and so he is under the control of the Nazgul, or Saruman's involved a bit, I guess, maybe? I don't know. The plot is an incomprehensible. Around the time after you beat Helm's Deep, or when you get to Osgiliath, you realize that the plot has stopped trying, and it just becomes incomprehensibly confusing.
Yeah, I mean, in the fight with the Nazgul and Osgiliath, he's told that he has a Nazgul blade buried in his chest. He was awoken by Saruman. And he then gets his blade and rips it from his chest, collapses, and then gets up like he's not even injured.
I personally admired that he managed to do it through full plate mail.
Yeah, I did spot that as well. I think I was too, like, what? Kind of like expression. But then, once you then fight the 4 Nazguls, or the 8 Nazguls, you kill them all, and then you get into a cutscene with Aragorn, and
Aragorn, he says the thing that he says to the hobbits to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Morwen's dead, by the way. Morwen is dead.
Yeah, Morwen dies, and Aragorn uses elf magic to bring her back to life, which, actually, thinking about it, she gets stabbed by a Nazgul. Now, I don't know if it wasn't a Morgul blade, because she would be dead probably already, or just injured, but he brings her back to life with elf magic. But in the film, when Frodo suffers the same fate, he can't do it.
This is after he's geared. This is post Lorien, post Rivendell. That is him hanging out in Bree and not bathing. He's improved. He's accepted that he's the king, and there's a line in the book, like, the hands of the king or the hands of a healer. It doesn't mean he has magic powers, but whatever.
Yeah.
We had our tension for a good 3 seconds, then they removed the tension. Let's get to the final boss.
And then suddenly it's like, what do we do now? We gather our full strength and march on the Black Gate. And then suddenly, instead of going to the Black Gate and fighting a few more fights, you suddenly appear in Mordor on top of the tower of
Barad-dûr. In
front of the eye of Sauron, not maybe a ghost form of Sauron, the eye of Sauron, which has 200,000 HP.
Now, I have nothing against fighting Sauron in the game, but maybe like a secret unlockable boss, which is like legit Sauron from the prologue, that I'd be fine with. That, yeah. But this is just dumb.
It was like they ran out of ideas of what to do.
I thought of a good prologue version.
What?
your party is you don't have your characters anymore. It's Sauron, and the characters against him are Isildur with Barethor's moveset, Elrond with Idril's moveset, and Gil-galad with Eowyn's moveset.
Gil-galad.
Gil-galad. He is Gil-galad. He is the He's really more from the books. He's a bit in the movie. He's the leader of the Elven army. He's the king of the elves at that time with the shield.
Oh! You mean the one that comes to Helm's Deep?
No, that's Haldir. He would not. He's Gil-galad is the.
He's the one in the Woodland Realm, isn't he? That
No.
is with.
No, he's only in the battle at the beginning of Fellowship. He's the one standing beside Elrond with the crown.
I've never spotted him in the film.
I only really know him because A, from the books, and B, because when I was a kid, I had an action figure of him, and it was really cool. He's Elf with a spear, basically.
Okay.
Just have these three fighting Sauron would be a fine, unlockable boss.
Yeah,
but
no,
I would so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen. There have been games that I've played, like, for example, Final Fantasy IX, and spoilers, I know you're not likely to play Final Fantasy IX, but
I will say, though, I found an equivalent, because you mentioned Final Fantasy X, and I do know a bit about that game. Sauron, the Eye of Sauron as a final boss fight is on the same level as that Yu Yevon tick at the end of 10.
See, I've not beaten 10.
It's not worth it. It's just not.
Yeah, so but it reminds me of like the 9.
But Barethor
final boss
is the star player of the Xanarkand Apes.
Yeah, but I don't know about that one. Just so I briefly mentioning it, on 9 you basically have a similar situation to this where. I would say if you fought like a Ghost of Sauron, it would have been good, or even maybe the Mouth of Sauron as the final boss outside the Black Gate, because then you could then watch the tower blow up when Frodo destroys the ring, or even maybe if you maybe how Gollum somehow survives the fire inside the mountain, and then you fight Gollum.
I'm sorry. It was ridiculous enough in the Return of the King game to have Frodo and Sam fight Gollum as the final boss. Can you imagine freaking Barethor, Idril, and Hadhod fighting? All it takes is one good swing of Hadhod's hammer, and Gollum is so much paced. He's so much. Well,
in a reality like a film, that would happen.
And he's a fish paste sandwich.
Yes, but in 9, you basically fight a guy called Kuja.
Okay.
Who is basically trance at this point. So trance is like perfect mode in this game. Perfect mode is a glorified limit break.
Yeah.
That anyone can use it.
The best one is summoning Gwahir in all his Deus Ex Machina glory.
I got the Bando one at the end.
Yeah, that was
but in cool 9, you basically fight Trance Kuja. So he's trance. You fight him. You beat him, and then suddenly you fight a guy called Necron, who apparently is the one controlling everything to do with the whole entire game. He has about 70,000 HP, and you can beat him very easily. Not a boss to finish off, and the game reminds me of that. But no, overall. What would you say is probably a high? What's your highlight from the game?
Highlight from the game is I have Sebastian. Sorry, Sebastian just knocked everything off my desk. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Are you okay, buddy? Okay, you're fine. Highlight is there's a scene in Moria where I had an orc attack me. For a critical hit, and he did 0 damage. That's up there.
Okay, a highlight.
The Balrog fight, obviously. Balrog fight is legit.
For me, a highlight probably, I'd say. Well, one good thing I love about it's not really a highlight, but one thing that I think one good point I would say is the fact that I like how individual armor appears on
Yeah,
your
that was
character and
very
you can
cool.
visually see it. That's a really nice touch. A highlight for me is probably the Balrog fight is up there definitely. Probably I don't think there is really a highlight, but a low point. I think the lowest point is probably Gothmog. He beats the Witch King by an absolute mile.
Mm.
And then the Helm's Deep Evil mode is another low point. Unfortunately, this game I went into it with the fact that I always saw it, didn't hear very good things about it. I was like, oh, well, I don't like the sound of that. I'm a bit scared of going into it with what I might find. I like the fact that you had the overworld. Um, I thought it started off well. It sort of rose in the middle and then fell flat towards the end. Um, it could have been done a bit better in terms of how they did the final boss. The Witch King was a absolute bitch. Gothmog, it surprisingly beats the Witch King. But then, what would you say your favourite character was?
Kind of a toss up between. Even though I used Barathor the most, he was so freaking bland. He, he is just like plain toast as a character. So I think I liked Hadhod a lot, especially once you can get him a hammer, so you can pretend he's not just a Gimli ripoff.
Yeah,
Hadhod I quite
I'd say
liked. Morwen I quite liked. Elagast had the closest approximation of a personality.
yeah. He was obviously another kind of like the same kind of race as Aragon.
Yeah, Dunedain.
Dunedain, yes. My favourite character, I'd say Barathor is very good. Hadod is really I like. He's when you get his cleaving wound attack, that is a gem on top of a gold pile of solid gold. It's just like an added diamond on there. That does a lot of good damage. All attacks that do damage over time are good to use, and I'd recommend using them. It's just overall, I think I would say the game probably. I wouldn't say it's not the worst game I played.
Oh, I've certainly played. Like, Aragorn's Quest is undoubtedly a worse game than this.
See, I've not
Even
touched
in
that
terms
game
of
yet.
Lord of the Rings, because it's just everything from the trilogy again, but only with Aragorn. It's like a stripped down version of the EA games, and it's I think I was expecting from Aragorn's Quest like his like what he was doing before the movies kind of thing, but no, it's the same old stuff again.
Yeah, kind of like how he got to Bree to meet the hobbits and that kind of thing.
How his hunt for
Um,
for Gollum at the years ago, that kind of stuff would be cool. But
he hunts for Gollum, does
yeah,
he?
in the book, yeah, he's the one who like catches him and brings him to Gandalf and Mirkwood. To be,
I didn't realise that.
yeah.
But yeah, the game I'd say if I give it a score out of 10, I'd say maybe a 7. I think might be a good.
I kind of have it as a 6 personally because it is still. It's a microcosm of why I don't play turn-based combat. Like the fact that every single attack, for some reason, gets a whole full minute, like 90 seconds even of animation, just felt padded and drawn out.
Yeah, I think the other thing as well I'd say is the game is very unbalanced in the fact that I counted in one fight and the enemies got 8 attacks
Yep.
before I got 1.
Yeah, it is frustrating.
When you EA, if you ever hear this, okay, like just take it from me that's played Final Fantasy games RPG games done right, you can do an RPG game if you actually look at it and think, how can we make it unique? Make sure that if it's a turn-based strategy game, you give everyone a fair turn. I don't mind if you see who comes next. If it's like you and then 2 enemy attacks, that's fine. But when it's you and then 1 attack from the enemy, another attack from the enemy, that kills one of your characters, 2 more attack kills 1 more, and then the next one kills the last one. And on that bridge of death that I called my video, the bridge of death, or the bridge of rage, that fucking, I think you said the Nazgul broke me. I think probably that broke me first. I was like, and then I died. That was the first time I died when I got to that point. I hadn't died up until that point at all. Hadn't been KO'd completely. I've been very, very careful because when I looked at it, I was like, you know what? I want to know. I took my experience from other games and went into it with the fact that I know how to get through a fight, and sometimes, often what you need to do is cheese the game in a way, or cheese it in a point where you'll do something that can make you win. I don't think I was always successful in this, but overall,
one thing that kind of did bug me about it is you're leveling up constantly, you're constantly getting stronger, you're constantly getting better gear, but you never feel stronger because everything scales with you. So I never felt like, I look cooler, I have these cooler things, I have these cooler attacks, but I'm not, when you compare to the HP and the armor the enemies have, I'm not doing any better than I was in episode 1. And it's kind of it's a little disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that, it's like you do level up, but you have to obviously, like, if you're not used to RPG strategy-based games, normally your stats increase on their own, but you have to do it manually here yourself, which I think gives you a bit more control over every character. I never unlocked every single thing with every character because the last one on every character, I think Morrowind has probably the most skills to learn. 100 skill points are needed, which means you have to use an attack 100 times, and
it's. I got close because I never used attack, but I just ignored certain. Like I had no reason to use magic with Hadhod, for example. And Aodin's magic was just weird. Like, it's exclusively drain life from enemies, drain AP from enemies, and channel it into allies. It was just such a weird pull that almost doesn't work in Lord of the Rings.
Did you also know that Morrowind actually can copy Adriel's magic attacks and can heal you?
Really?
Yeah, there's if you go down her list, there's one called something magic, but what she does Adriel's gift that cures you by the later point of the game full health, but I think it does half the heal. So she does kind of copy her moves. It's kind of like a copycat kind of thing, but unless you knew it was there, which I found that out in the last few videos of my LP. But no, I'd say try the game if you want something different.
I can't warning if you're gonna try the game though. This is a 40-hour-long video game that needs to be understood going in. Unless you're recording, doing it specific, like we were as a Let's Play, it is perfectly likely that you will just get fed up and stop playing at a certain point.
Well, I would say that if you go into the game and you're used to Final Fantasy, you're used to a long, drawn-out campaign, like Final Fantasy VIII, for example, I've played that game for 100 hours, right? And when I hit 100 hours, the clock reset and went red.
What's that mean?
I overhit Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh, yeah, but what's the clock turning red mean?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I never knew it really was there. I mean, I played like those games for like Final Fantasy, like leveling up is essential. Like Final Fantasy 9, 7, 8, 6. In this game, you can go up more than one level. After some fights, you can go up like 2 or 3 levels at once. All your characters level up after every battle, so not just the 3 in your party, which is also a nice touch. That's very unusual in a game like this. But yeah, summarizing, it's a good game to go into. If you go into it expecting it's going to be great, then you're going to be disappointed.
And if you just want a Lord of the Rings game, play Return of the King. Don't play this. If you just want the Lord of the Rings experience, Return of the King and Two Towers. That's what you want.
Play Return of the King. It's probably much more fun. It's co-op.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. You have Gandalf, Merry, Pippin, Frodo, Sam, Aragorn, Faramir, Legolas, and Gimli. All with their own unique move. Okay, I say all with their own unique movesets, but all the Hobbits share a moveset, so it's not necessarily true.
Yeah, so in Return of the King, you basically can unlock moves that all the Fellowship can use. Mainly at the start, that character, like Gandalf, Sam, and
Aragorn.
One of the other 3. Yeah, Aragorn.
But that'll be its own podcast one day. That's its own thing.
Yes. The next kind of podcast we're looking at doing is the Splinter Cell games, which I know you've played.
Either the Splinter Cell games or possibly the Punisher is another possibility.
Yes, maybe some Marvel games like Punisher.
Because I know we both played
Spider-Man.
We both played the Punisher. So.
Yeah, I might have to go through Spider-Man again. Like Spider-Man 1. I can't get Spider-Man 2 to work on the PS2.
I have been Merrick D'Amato. I think we've talked about this game enough.
Yes.
But I've been Merrick D'Amato. You've been...
And I've been Classic Gamer.
And this should probably be up again when Classix Let's Play of Third Age is done.
Yep.
It'll be on both of our channels. So if you're finding this on my channel, please go check out ClassixGamer at... his YouTube channel, ClassixGamer. There's going to be a link to the description below of this video. There's going to be a link to his channel.
And there'll also be a link to your channel in my description.
That would be Narwhal Entertainment.
Yes, providing I remember to put it in, and don't forget.
I will remind you.
Yes, do remind me. And also check out over on Twitch as well. I'm over on Twitch as well from my side.
In the description of mine as well. Probably link in both. Is the Twitch one?
Yes. That's classic_gamer987.
Or just click the link. It's much easier.
Yeah, or just click the link. It's much easier, of course. And also please subscribe as well. We're both over 500 subs. Mm-hmm. We're both incredibly proud of that achievement. It was a long time. Yeah. We were looking. Mine was about 8 years.
I think I'm coming up on this November. Going to be my 8-year anniversary of doing this channel.
Yeah. So it's taken. Mine was I think 7 years in March, just gone. I think. I started in 2014. But yeah. You can see what we what we have on our channels. At the moment, I've got obviously this game coming up. Then after this, I've got most likely the Fellowship first, then Two Towers, then Lord of the Rings, then Return of the King, and maybe another game after that of Lord of the Rings Nature, which will be going up to when the new TV series is released in September.
I might have a recommendation for you off camera for what another one should be. It's actually one that is very, very enjoyable. Probably my favorite of the Lord of the Rings games, actually. But I'll let you know after.
Not the Hobbit.
No, I said good. There are hours and hours of footage of both me and my friend Matthew lamenting how much we despise the Hobbit game.
Yeah, I saw I started watching the first few minutes of The Hobbit, and just like the dread in both your voice was just like, oh no, like
Like I almost died during that one because in one of
yeah.
the, a few of the episodes, my voice is completely gone.
Yeah, I think there are quite a few games that have, the exception of this game, which, it's bad enough being, when you're broken, this is experience from two LPers' point of views to you guys watching or listening to this podcast. When you are broken in the middle of an LP by a game, and you have to finish that game by doing probably 10 more videos, you start to lose your will to live, and, you want to either snap the controller, which I wanted to do, or do something else.
And there's also the
Like,
element of I don't want to be doing this bit right now. I want to stop doing this bit right now.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
know that if I leave now, like either I save state in the middle of it and I can pick up from there, or if you don't have save states, I gotta start this all over from the beginning. Or just even if you come back in the middle of it, if I know that this is what I'm going to be coming back to, I will not come back to this game. I have had bits like that.
yes.
Like
So have I. I've had games where I've had to force myself to get through the game.
I think one of the game I played had this like really bad like escort or chase mission. I was like, if I leave with this not finished, I will not come back to this game. And so you just remind yourself of that and keep going. I think I had moments like that in
Yes.
God of War, actually, with some of the fucking balance beams in that. Some of the
Yeah,
platforming.
I haven't played the God of War games.
Um,
Um,
they're fun, but bear in mind they're a product of their time, so they are like quaint in how edgy they are.
yeah. I mean, there are games that we've both played that I've seen you play and I've tried, and you've seen me play and you probably tried. I think I don't know if you were planning Splinter Cell for a while, but I think
I was
you probably
planning
have watched.
Splinter Cell for a while because it's just fun. That's the game I actually have coming out right now. Is the first Splinter Cell.
Yeah, I have been watching your thing of that, and I know you don't do stealth games, but like I said to you the other day when we were talking off mic or off camera, you're not doing badly. I mean, I've seen worse people do stealth,
And as I've
like
said,
DSP for example, like Dark Side Phil.
Okay,
Don't watch him play
we don't
Metal
talk
Gear.
about Dark
Like,
Side Phil.
yeah, well, it's just that when I said to you that I've seen people do worse, he can't even do Metal Gear Solid in a way that is actually anywhere near stealth. Like, if he gets he got blown up by his own claymore during the Vulcan Raven fight in the first game, and he took it upon himself to also insult Hideo Kojima, who is my idol in terms of gaming. He is a god, in my opinion. I've met him. I've shook the man's hand. I respect him so much. I think he is. He's done a right fuck you to Konami by starting his own production company or making his own production company independent. But Death Stranding could have been better. But it's his first attempt at a game that's not Metal Gear. So I think he's tried. It didn't probably go the way he wanted it to, but
He wanted it to be the next Silent Hill game, is what he wanted it to be.
yeah, well, he got given the keys, and then Konami basically said, "No, we're taking the keys away from you." And then he
to quote James Stephanie Sterling, #Fuckonami.
Yeah, and also, yeah, Jim Sterling. I love Jim Sterling. And then I love his fuck Konami news. I find that hilarious. And then
I think they're going by Steph now.
Yeah, he is. But he basically took the actor that was going to play the main character in the new Silent Hill remake or reboot, and promptly stole him from Konami and took him across to his own game.
That is Norman Reedus, and we should probably get wrapping up this this podcast now.
Yes.
But he's actually quite excited about Norman Reedus. He's Daryl Dixon, The Walking Dead, because my favorite superhero of all time, Ghost Rider, has confirmed casting for an upcoming movie, Norman Reedus as Johnny Blaze. And I'm quite happy about
Oh,
that.
thank God it's not Nicolas
Not
Cage
Nicolas
anymore.
Cage again.
Whew.
Yeah. So check out my channel if you're here on Classix channel. Check Classix channel out if you're here on my channel. And game on.
Yes, and thank you for listening and watching and enduring this hour and a half that we've been talking for.
Oof,
So
yeah.
thank you very much, guys. We both appreciate on behalf of myself and Merrick. Thank you for all the support you've given both our
We've been
channels.
meaning to do something like this for a
Yeah,
freaking
we
year.
have been we have also been meaning to do an LP together, and this. It's just we both live on opposite sides of the world, so getting the time and the right time is quite difficult.
But hey, worked it out, and hopefully we'll do more of these with whatever we do next. So
yes, so
see you in the next one.
See